Alright, welcome back YouTube to Rustic Automotive. Today we find some broken suspension pieces, or those that are going out, and we also do some programming or some coding, encoding and programming on a 2017 BMW 320i xDrive with a boot mode stage 2 tune. All right, so right here we have a check engine light that is on, or that has been on, and it is for the NVLD, which is the fuel tank leak detection system. All right, so, or the natural vacuum leak detection system that is in the vehicle. Previous mechanic told him that it is the purge valve that is located under the hood. IHKA says to me that this is not under the hood, but it is under the car. For the purpose of showing you, we will look at the actual visuals in IHKA to show where it is located. So as it stands right now, this is just giving us the fault description, what are the existing preconditions for the fault and that kind of thing, what it is that is actually going wrong, and how it is that we should go about diagnosing and determining what is what. This is also a test module, so it will run a test to determine that yes, this is the natural vacuum leak detection system that is going bad. Fortunately, this does not affect our coding or programming or encoding, whatever you want to call it, in any way, shape, or form. But it does serve as a informative means to the customer to let him know what it is that is actually taking place, so that he does not end up spending money on a part that he may not need. So my advice was to have this diagnosed before he goes ahead and purchases the purge valve. Right. So that being said, we just continue to go through this ABL, at which point I will now show where it is located. So it's under the right rear of the car, passenger rear, for those persons who have left-hand drive vehicles. On the right-hand drive vehicles, it would be on the right rear, which is the driver's rear, and that is where your leak detection system is located, which is right in line with where you would have your fuel filler neck. Right. We do go through quite a bit of programming today, updating a few modules. We do have some goodies at the end of the video where there's a quick little informational, nothing too fancy. I do know this is a bit of a longer video, but it is a case where after updating some of these modules, you may experience some things. A lot of people who are doing this at home aren't really used to this kind of reaction, and I've seen it quite a lot in the forums, haven't really seen it covered on YouTube where it is concerned. So I thought I would just shoot a quick video of it, explain what it is that takes place, and help out the community in some way. So here we're just finishing up this ABL for the diagnostics for the leak detection system, and after this we should be getting into doing some programming. Alright, so here we're gonna start breaking that connection, and we're gonna head over to our lovely programming app known as ESYS. And yes, we're using Launcher Pro 2.81 by Token Master. For those of you who may need codes or anything like that to crack this software, you can contact me. I do not sell this kind of thing because it's free software basically. Everybody can get access to it, so for those that do sell it, I am not on board with that. Nonetheless, let us get connected now to this F30. It is considered to be under the F20 generation of vehicles. We connect via VIN and read the parameters from the VCM. Now there is going to be another part to this video where it is that we do some VO coding, and we do change the transmission to the sports automatic transmission. As I said before, this is a car that has a boot mode stage 2 tune with wow, I don't remember what kind of exhaust is on it. I do know that it's valved. I don't remember the name of the exhaust right now. But nice sounding car, quite punchy and powerful for what it is. However, the transmission could use a little tune up, and I mean, hey, if we can do that without having to buy any tunes and that kind of thing, then we did that. So the part 2 will have a VO coding done so that we can show how it is that we change from the regular automatic transmission to the sports automatic transmission, and it does make a difference for those of you who want to know. It really does. The gear shifts are much smoother, everything is much nicer. It's a completely different experience, right? Both in regular driving and in Sports Plus mode. So keep posted for that part 2 of this video. But for this part of the video here in the part 1, what we're doing is we're going to be updating some modules now. We're doing the seat module, and these are all by request of the customer. Ultimately, he wants all modules to be updated, but he wants them bit by bit, and he selected the few that he wanted first. So we did the seat module, we did the ICM, we did the IHKA, which is the HVAC module, and there were others that he wanted updated if there were any updates, but they were already done. We also did the transfer case. I believe the touch box and the iDrive controller was already up to date. So we didn't have to do those. So here is where we get into all of this goodie. Now, for most of you, you already know what this part of things is. We're just reading all the vehicle data, saving it, calculating the SVTs, and then we're gonna head on to calculating the TAL. And believe it or not, this is the first vehicle that has ever come into the shop that the TAL has no issues calculating, and it just takes a few seconds. Every other TAL that I've ever had to calculate, I've had to modify something. So this was a pleasurable experience to be able to program this car, because there were no issues in so doing to generate a TAL and that kind of thing, right? So as you see, the TBX, the ZBE is already updated and on the latest version available to it. So now we are going to be updating the SM2, the LMV. We did not do the rear electronics module because we weren't asked to. Next time around we will. And the other modules as stated before. So now we're going to head into the TAL processing, We're going to load our tile that we just calculated, and then we're going to load our SVT target. All right. And after that, we're going to read out the FA from the VCM, and we're going to head right down to the SM2, and you will see where we have software deploy and a coding file that needs to be added to that. It's a very simple module to update. All of those which I did today are very simple to update. The one that is most daunting for some people in some cases where this is concerned is the IHKA. And by the end of the video, you will see why. Some people on the forums even complain about what it is that takes place. And it is really and truly pretty simple, but it is not really highlighted much as far as I see. So I will leave this here. At this point, we're just simply waiting for this update to finish. Alright, so it's finished, and you will see where it finished successfully, but it finished with warnings. Now, in a situation like this, it is usually advised that if needs be, you do the flash again. But if the warnings did not cause the flash to fail, then there's nothing to worry about. So ideally, you would want a green bar. Green bar means everything went well, there are no errors, there are no warnings, everything's perfectly fine. Red bar means you have problems. You know, module failed to update, so there's something definitely wrong, some files may be missing or something like that. Yellow bar means you may be okay, you may be not okay. All right, so what we ended up doing is going and reading out the ECU, and you see the seat module is updated. There are no issues there. When we did check with IHKA, the warnings that did exist were quite simple, just regular warnings that come up when you do mess with certain modules, especially considering that these updates that were being done was being done on battery power. We did not have a PSU connected to it. This was one of those off-site updates, so all the equipment that was necessary was not available to us as we would usually recommend. So, but nothing to worry about. Here we did the transfer case, which is known as the LMV_FR, and this was a quite simple update. It was just a coding file, if memory serves right, and it went through quite effectively, quite easily. And then we moved on to the next module, and it was the IHKA HVAC module. And you will see here where we have software deploy, coding deploy to do. All right. Be mindful that when doing this particular module, your HVAC system will turn on. It will run throughout the entire flash. It is going to be a case where you will not be able to turn it off, and you will need a good battery before I would advise that this flash is attempted, because you don't want it to die, any module, to cause your battery to die in the middle of a flash. This is the module where I say that for some people it's a bit daunting, because after they do the flash, the AC, well, not AC, but the blower stays on its lowest setting or somewhere about the middle setting continuously, and it does not turn off. Really and truly, all that happens is that after you do the flash, it runs through an initialization process, and it takes as little as 1 minute. It may take longer depending on your particular application and that kind of thing. However, at the end of the video, there is a video clip to show you what it is that actually happened. So when I was finished, there's some preconditions that need to be met. Revolutions on the engine need to be either at idle or about 1500 RPM. My advice is just take it for a quick 5-minute drive down the road. That should set it straight and that kind of thing. So this again also finished with warnings. Not a big issue considering the warnings that were given. Again, when we did do the readout in IHKA, it was quite simple. We just did all the necessary initializations and all was well where that is concerned. So no problems there. And then from here we go on to update the ICM. So again, just a software deploy and a coding file. All right, so this is pretty self-explanatory. So here we go back, read out the ECU, and we see that the LMV is updated, SM2 is updated, touch box is good, and so on and so forth. HVAC is good, ICM is good, and our battery saver is on, so we need to get some charge. Nonetheless, we go back into IHKA and we do our connection, and then we're going to be just getting out of everything, go back in, read out the faults again, and see what it is that come back. All right. Now, in this particular case, don't be surprised when you do see that the readout shows a message maybe to tell you that engine or ECU tuning has been detected. I will caution persons that do have this kind of an issue that if you do program or flash or do anything with the DME, you will lose your tune. It's not an if, not a but, no maybe, you will lose your tune. So be prepared to have to retune your car if you do update or program or reflash your DME or anything like that. If it gets stuck in programming abort or anything like that, you'll have to retune the car. All right. Right here we just go ahead, calculate our test plan. We already know that we expect a lot of faults in the in the vehicle information. Here we're just gonna go through and reinitialize the flex ray. We have to remember that the ICM, which is the integrated chassis module, sits on the flex ray. So anytime that you do anything on that bus, then you must reinitialize the flex ray. If not, you're gonna get endless faults inside the car, right? We do look for a few other things here and there, but that's really the main thing. Reinitializing that flex ray. We do also go into the ICM to read out and see what is wrong for that encoding, and that is maybe the warning that we were getting in ESIS about the ICM being updated successfully, but it finished with warnings. We went through this module. It was quite simple actually. Never really had to do anything. We just went to reinitialize the flex ray afterwards and all was well. There is a permanent SAE fault that is usually stored after doing some of these kind of things. It's not something to worry about. It is just a case where you drive around for a bit, give or take 5 minutes. You come back, read the codes, clear the codes, drive again, come back, nothing is stored. So that's as simple as it gets. So when this vehicle left here, the only code that was still showing would be for the natural leak, the leak detection system saying that it is faulty. So customer will be coming back to get that addressed when he has the time to do so. That's about it. So as I said here, we're just reinitializing the flex ray. It went through successfully. We cleared our faults and everything was healthy. There are those who have asked why it is that I use a MacBook to do what I do. Why not just get a dedicated Windows machine? And here's the thing. For me, I just prefer the use of a Apple machine. It runs faster, it's more efficient, it has longer battery life, and for the purposes that I use a machine for, it works perfectly for me. I have nothing against Windows machines per se, but I do like the screen resolution on the Apple machine. It makes everything look much more, appealing. And it does everything that I need it to do. So here is the before, when I show that doesn't matter how much you press, it will not turn off. All right, here's the after. You can see here we went for a little drive. After doing our module updates and our diagnosis of various faults, we updated the IHKA, which is the HVAC module. Some people, after doing this, they will see where the fan stays on, as you'll see in the previous video, with maybe the AC light blinking, and it will stay on the lowest setting or somewhere in the middle, and it does not go away. Usually that's just the case where the module needs to be reinitialized. So Revs need to be at a minimum of 1500 RPM. So just take it for a short drive. Give or take a minute, the least in some cases. The longest, I'd say 5 to 10 minute drive. And when it's finished, it will still show like this, but then you can just hit off, and there you go. No more, HVAC staying on. So it just takes a little while to initialize when you're finished. And that being said, here is my setup. Quite simple actually. And that's that. So thanks for watching, and I'm out.